Everybody's going to need a Bible to at least follow along because we're going to be in Genesis chapter something or other, 37. Last week, what we did was together we went through the story of Jacob. And I was looking at Joeseph, and I was going to go two ways. I was going to tell the story of Joeseph as being Joseph, or I thought we could walk through it together. And honestly, I had such a good time last week walking through this together that I wanted to do it this week. Because it seems to me that the stories of Jacob and the stories of Joseph don't make a lot of sense. They're not easy stories. Last week, as we looked at Jacob, and I do want to do a first-person Jacob, but I want to get through Joseph first. Maybe I'll go back and do Jacob and Joseph from their point of view after we get it from our point of view. But both Jacob and Joseph are stories that make us go, that's not fair. Or that doesn't make sense. Or where's God in that? Or how could that possibly be? And Joseph, Joseph is great in that it ends happy. But there's a lot of unhappy. And there's a lot of life that goes on here in Genesis 37. So we're going to look at it together because as I was coming up with a big idea for the life of Joseph, I had a great struggle. Because I couldn't say, what happens when you serve God? He'll bless you. Well, that is true, but not always, depending on how you determine blessing, right? You will get a good, wonderful life and it will end well, and everybody will love you. Can't say that. What happens when you serve God? He'll make sure that life is great for you. I can't say that. There's a lot of things in the story of Joseph that make us go, are you kidding me? So what I like about this is that we have at least three people here who are starting out in life and looking at life from a different perspective than Val and me and Michelle and Nancy and Michael, who are in the middle of life, looking at it from the middle of life. You're probably too, sorry. And, I'm getting in dangerous territory. And then we got the old guy over there and the very wise woman right here. Mm-hmm. You were wondering what I was going to say, weren't you? My mama didn't raise no dummy. Well, sometimes you couldn't tell. So let's look at Genesis 37. And we're going to go through fairly quick, and we're going to kind of do the same thing we did last week, good, bad kind of thing. We're going to put this all together. Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. So here's the story of Jacob and his children. Here we go. Joseph, so we know the main character is Joseph. The Bible generally does that. A young man of 17. Okay, he's 17. How old are you? 15. Okay. All right, you're our Joseph tonight, all right? Mm-hmm. And you're 18 in your 20s, so you're Joseph's sisters. Yes, there. I knew you'd like that. Okay. Whew. He was tending flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah, the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Okay? We get into the story right away. Joseph, 17. What do you know about Joseph? Without reading any more, what do you know about Joseph? He's 17. What else do you know about Joseph? Okay, he has some brothers, yep. Jump around in the story. What else do you know about Joseph? What's that? He tends flocks. Okay, so it's a shepherd family. He has brothers from 4 women. Okay, so his father has 2 wives, Leah and Rachel. Rachel's the oldest, Leah's the youngest, Rachel's his favorite. Okay? Oh, other way around. Sorry, Leah's the oldest, Rachel's the youngest, Rachel's his favorite. Thank you. Bilhah and Zilpah were handmaidens of Rachel and Leah. Okay? So Jacob has 12 children in all. At this point, Benjamin has been born already. Okay? We don't hear about Benjamin at the beginning of the story, which is interesting. Okay? Sometimes it's very interesting what you don't hear at the beginning of the story. Okay? We don't hear about Benjamin. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. Are we setting up for a good thing or a bad thing here? Yeah, well, yeah, you are pretty lovable, so we get why you would be loved more than others. You are the most loved grandson. That's what your grandpa tells me. Well, no, he doesn't. So, he's loved most by Jacob. Why? Because he had been born to him in his old age. Who was Joseph's mom? Rachel. Rachel was barren. She couldn't have kids. Leah could have kids. That's why Rachel gave Jacob her handmaiden to say, have kids through her. They'll be surrogate kids. And Leah said, hey, well, hold on a minute. If you're going to do that, I'm going to do that too. You think you have kids? I'm going to have more kids. But finally, Joseph is born from Rachel, his favorite wife. He gets a favorite eldest son from Rachel. Benjamin, by the way, is born also from Rachel. Benjamin is not a half-brother, but a full brother to Joseph. Now, Joseph knows he's the favorite. When you know you're the favorite, are you the nicest person to be around in the family? Oh, we got sibling wars here. We got siblings here, siblings. Oh, this is good. I knew this was a good day to do this. If you're the favorite child, what are you doing to your brothers and sisters? What's that? Oh, I see. Yeah, Try to put a good spin on this. Yeah, really? You're not the favorite, evidently. Because you didn't want to be the favorite. You didn't want to be known as the favorite, right? Oh, you liked it. Okay. You wanted to remain the favorite. This is good. There's a lot of things that happen when you're the favorite child. When you're the favorite child, you know you're going to get away with stuff that others can't. You know that when you're the favorite, you can poke at your brothers and sisters, and they're going to get mad at you, and if they touch you, you're like, Dad, look at what he did to me, right? And Dad goes, don't you do that to your brother. And what do the brothers do? Do they like Joseph more when that happens? No, he's a pain. He's a pest. He is the bane of their existence. Oh, there goes little Joseph. He can do whatever he wants because Daddy loves him most. They hate Joseph. He is made a richly ornamented robe. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him, and they could not speak a kind word to him. So that's kind of telling. Now, I'm going to guess that you don't hate your sister. No. And you don't hate your sister. They've been away for a while, okay. We get annoyed with our brothers and sisters. We get annoyed with our siblings, but we don't hate them to the point where we want to kill them. Well, maybe you don't. Your family's special. You had an awesome mom, so, you know. So there's some strife in this family. Do you remember what kind of a report that Joseph brought back to his father about his brothers? A bad report. Here's the brat child Joseph. Hey, Dad, I was just out of the fields, and you know what they were doing? They weren't taking care of the sheep at all. They were fooling around. They were, right? Well, maybe they were. But why would you bring a bad report to your dad about your siblings? Why would you do that? Come on, your people. Why do you tell on your brothers and sisters? Yes. Thank you. To make yourself look better. You want them to look bad and you're oh, see, I wouldn't do that. I'm the right one in the family, but then, right? And you want them to get in trouble. You want something bad to happen to them. So Joseph, good guy, bad guy? Where are we at with Joseph? Let's vote. Joseph, good guy, bad guy? You like Joseph so far? Oh, all right. It's a good thing to bring a bad report about your siblings. That's okay. Okay, we got it. Anybody want to vote no for Joseph? Bad guy? Nobody wants to vote? Oh, you're going to hang on the fence. Okay, well, you're the youngest of 9, so... Wait, what? What? I didn't say any good or bad. I'm just on the fence. Okay, so, all right. You're going to reserve judgment. Me, I don't, I think Joseph's kind of a weenie at this stage. I'm thinking he's a bad guy. He's bugging his brothers and sisters. Of course, it wasn't his fault that he got a richly ornamented robe, but I'm guessing he made sure everybody knew. Well, why don't you have a robe like me? Oh, Dad doesn't like you as much. Too bad. Check it out. Right? Joseph has a dream. Here's his dream. Listen to this dream I had. He goes to his brothers. Now, tell me if this is a good idea or a bad idea, okay? He goes to his brothers. Guys, here's the dream I had. His brothers hate him in the first place, right? We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright. Well, your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. Pretty cool dream, huh, guys? Not a good... Joseph, good guy, bad guy? Stupid. Not a very wise. He's 17, right? He's 17. What can happen in 17, right? So he tells them the dream. Why would he tell his brothers about this? You can answer that. Why is he going to tell his brothers, hey, you guys are, I'm the standing tall when you guys are bowing down to me. He's the youngest. Why is he doing that? Yeah, what's he bragging about? Yes. I'm the favorite. I'm special. Now God says I'm superior too. You want to know what God said? I am special. Look. He's feeling pretty untouchable, and he's 17. Okay? Pretty naive about the way life really works. So far, none of his brothers can probably beat him up because he goes running to daddy, right? And they're much older than he is. Okay? So, he has the dream. He tells it to them. Not good. His brothers say to him in verse 8, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. So he has another dream. And what does he do? He tells his family, hey, I had another dream because it went so well when I told it to you the first time. I want to tell you. Okay, there is something not connecting with Joseph, right? I mean, come on, man. You might be 17, but you're not a very old 17. So he tells them this dream. I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. Whoa, now it's like mom and dad are going to bow down to me. The whole world's going to be bowing down to me. Good move, bad move? Yeah, probably bad move. Now his father rebukes him. What's this dream you had? You really think your mother and I and your brothers actually come to bow down to the ground before you? Like, come on. His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Two different responses. Why are the brothers jealous of him? Why do you get jealous about anybody? You want what they have. You want what they have. Does Joseph actually have anything? Okay, he's got his father's love. He's got the dreams. If they're jealous about Joseph, they're believing these dreams, aren't they? They're believing these actually come from God. If you think, well, my brother's stupid, whatever, that's nonsense, you're not going to be jealous over that. You're just going to say, yeah, whatever, get out of my face. But if you're jealous, he's got something real that you want. And look at his father's response. After he rebukes him, basically says, Joseph, shut up. Don't be telling those, yeah, come on, what's the matter with you? But his father kept the matter in mind. His father believed it. There's some truth to what's going on. And the brothers knew it, and his dad went, I knew God told me he was special, but maybe there's something really going on. It's kind of like the same phrase, but Mary cherished these things in her heart. Right? Same kind of thing. Mary's like, I was told Jesus was special. Let's watch and see. And I think his dad's doing, let's watch and see. So, no more dreams, and if he did have dreams, he doesn't tell his brothers. We don't know. We just got the two. Now, his brothers had gone to graze their father's flocks near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, as you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. I'm going to send them to you. Okay. Now, wait a minute. He's got 11 brothers. Benjamin's his youngest brother. They're all out in the fields. Why isn't Joseph with them? Why is he the only one not in the fields? What's going on there? Any thoughts? I mean, this is a shepherd family. He's 17. He's not too young. His younger brother's probably out there. What's the deal? Why is Joseph not doing any work? Would that make you angry as a brother? Joseph, good guy, bad guy. You're still going good, huh? You like this Joseph dude. All right. Okay, he didn't choose not to go out there. Well, okay, so you think it's all his mom and dad's fault. I got a counseling spot on Tuesday. Okay. It could be. It could be. I mean, this was his first son from Rachel. He loved him more than all the rest. Didn't want his son to be in danger, in harm's way. There's lions and there's bad things that can happen out there. So keep little Joseph home. Keep little Joseph safe. Give him a nice looking coat. You know, he's kind of the pretty boy of the family, right? So you might be right. It might just completely be his parents' fault. And you know, if his brothers hate him, he's not going to actually want to go out there. But he doesn't seem to have any issues with telling them how great he is and how bad they are. So he goes. Dad says, go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks. Bring word back to me. What was the word he brought back the last time he went to see the flocks and his brothers? Yeah, bad. He brought a bad report back. Okay, so off he goes. He arrives at Shechem. A man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, well, who are you looking for? I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they're grazing their flocks? Oh, they've moved on from here, the man answered. I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. Now, obviously, these brothers are well known. Okay? I'm looking for my brothers. Well, I know who you are, and I know who your brothers are. News travels, right? Oh, yeah, fancy coat, pretty boy, you're Jacob's favorite son. Your brothers, they went on to Dothan. Okay. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But when they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. They really hated him. They didn't want another bad report. They didn't want another, hey, he's going to tell us another dream. He's going to try. They were jealous. They hated him. They were going to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. They're really stuck on this dream, right? This is something that drives the story. It's this dream.
Maybe too, though, he's a dreamer. He gets to sit around at home because, he's like
Okay. He's a dreamer in the sense also that, yeah, he sits around at home and daydreams and whatever. Yeah, I can accept that. So, let's see. Oh, they want to, come now, let's kill him, verse 20. Throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. The guy thinks we're going to bow down to him. I'll show you. We're going to throw you in the cistern. You're going to die there. We'll kill you. We'll just say that you were eaten by ferocious animals, which is why Dad doesn't want you to be out here in the first place, and you're done. When Reuben heard this, Reuben's the oldest, he tried to rescue him from their hands. He said, no, let's not take his life. Don't shed any blood. I mean, come on. We'll throw him in the cistern here in the desert, but don't lay a hand on him. Let's just let him, just throw him in the cistern and then let Mother Nature take care of him. Of course, Reuben said this to rescue him from them and to take him back to his father. So Reuben's plan was, don't actually kill him. Guys, he's our brother. He's our flesh and blood. He has the same dad we have, so let's not kill him. Let's just throw him in the cistern. And, Reuben's plan was to, when all of them had gone, he would circle back and he'd get Joeseph out of there and he'd bring him back home safe. I guess that's what older brothers do. Reuben, good guy, bad guy? Yeah, I like Reuben. I think Reuben's okay. So, Joeseph, when they came to his brothers, what's the first thing they do? They stripped him of his robe. Oh, yeah, that robe's been bugging me for a long time. Every day you walk around in that fancy robe of yours and you flaunt that robe in my face. Every single time. We can see you from miles away because your pretty boy robe flashes and colors. And the first thing they do is get rid of the robe. We're getting rid of this thing because it's a symbol of their... Well, it's a symbol of their jealousy. It's a symbol of their rage. They just hate this. It's a symbol of the fact that their dad loves Joeseph more than them. So they get rid of the robe. Where in the world am I? Oh, yes. And they took him and threw him into the cistern. Now, the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. Okay, the author wants us to know he's not treading water. He's okay. They threw him in the cistern. They probably didn't let him down nicely either. If he breaks his leg, too bad for him, kind of thing. So they sit down and they eat their meal. And they look up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Okay, so Joeseph is in the cistern. Okay? And they decide to sit and have a picnic lunch. Is Joeseph quiet this whole time? What's Joeseph doing? Yelling. Let me out, guys. Come on, let me out. It's not fair. I'm going to tell Dad. Let me out. You know I'm special. Come on, let me out. Guys, come on. Right? And he's probably getting a little hysterical because he knows they're serious. They probably just didn't take off his robe and go, okay, we're putting you in there. They probably took off the robe and said, you jerk. All those years that you did this, you flaunted it in our face, and now you're going to pay. Right? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. It's okay, little girl. Right? So they're not being, it's not, boy, this is not a happy scene. And he's crying. And he's calling out. And he's frantic because he knows that he is going to die. They've made it very clear that you're done. And they're having a picnic. Do-de-do-de-do. Hey, can you pass the salt? Sure. Ooh, these are good sandwiches. Who made those sandwiches? Oh, man, Reuben, you are an awesome sandwich maker. Wow, you got to make them more often. Who made this one? Oh, Gad. Oh, Egad. That's where that comes from. Egad. So they're pretty cruel. I mean, can you sit down and have a picnic lunch when you know you're going to kill someone? These guys really hate him, and they're going to make him suffer. Don't do that to your siblings. Just saying, because I know how much you like Joeseph. That's where you're going to end up. Just be careful. So, they see the caravan coming of Ishmaelites. They're loaded with spices, myrrh, balm. They take him, and they're going to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, Judah is the third oldest, I believe. And Judah says, well, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? I mean, there's no gain in that. Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites, and we won't have to do anything to him. We won't have to lay our hands on him. After all, he's our own flesh and blood. So his brothers agreed. Yeah, you're right. He is, after all, our own flesh and blood. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up into the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver. And they take him to Egypt. That's 8 ounces of silver. Today's price, that's $120. They sold their brother for $120. At today's prices. Is your brother worth more than $120? Yeah, there you go. Thank you for saying that. I'd been worried if not. We would have gone in a whole different direction tonight. Is Joseph just quiet at this point? What's Joseph doing? Scared? He's probably yelling at his brothers. Come on, don't do this, guys. Come on, I'm your brother. Right? I mean, you're being sold as a slave. You're your dad's favorite. You can do nothing wrong. You have all the perks in life. You have the fancy clothes. You don't have to work. You're not the one going out in the field in the hot, hot sun. You're the son at home. And you're being sold as a slave. His life is upside down. So what do you do with the dream? What do you do with the dream that he had about his brothers bowing down to him? What do we do with that? Is it coming true? Now, see, you know the end of the story, so don't let the end of the story taint what's going on now. See, we tend to read backwards. We go from the end of the story and fill it in the beginning. He doesn't know, and he has 2 dreams, and they believe the dreams are from God. His father believes it, his brothers believe it, he believes it. God tells you something. Are you going to believe it? Yeah, you're going to believe it. What do you do with it when life goes south and it doesn't look like anything God told you is ever going to come true?
He saw his mom not have kids, and he probably heard his mom's story, so he knows to wait.
So Joseph is like cool, calm, and collected. Hey, no problem. I'll just chill for a while.
He's stressing, but he's probably also remembering that story. He must have heard that story.
Okay, that's possible.
You're our baby, blah, blah. We didn't think we were going to have kids. God told her.
Well, could be. That could be. Okay, so he's got a little bit of hope somewhere. Okay. Yeah, that's possible. I'm not sure that he's as cool and calm and collected as I'll just wait and see what happens.
Well, about the dream part. What do we do about the dream part?
Right.
I'm not saying what's he doing about the situation. He's probably, I'm assuming he's calling, you know who I am? You can't tell me. You know who my dad is?
That's such a good point, because Ishmaelites, what do we know about the Ishmaelites? Thank you, that was insightful, actually. The Ishmaelites, Ishmael was Isaac's half-brother. Joseph's uncle, great uncle, right? I'm blood. We're related. You guys are cousins. Ishmael was my great uncle. I think you're exactly right. I think he's bargaining. He's trying to say, hey, this is who I am. Really? No, I'm this person. And the brother's like, take him away. We got our $120. Take him away. So away he goes. And they take him to Egypt. And it says, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials and captain of the guard. Chapter 39. We're going to skip 38. If we have time, we'll come back to 38. I think something significant happens in 38 to this story, but we might not have time. 39. So Joseph's been taken down to Egypt. And Potiphar is one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. So he's an important guy. He's the captain of the guard. He hangs out with Pharaoh. I mean, he is in the palace. He is maybe pretty close to Pharaoh's right-hand guy. Okay, Pharaoh's in charge of all security. Potiphar is in charge of all security. And so Joseph ends up in a pretty nice place. Okay? He could have been a slave to anybody else. He could have been slopping pigs, but he's not. He's in a pretty nice mansion near the palace with Potiphar. And the Lord was with Joseph, verse 2, and he prospered, and he lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. So now Joseph is risen to top slave, okay? Top servant kind of thing. Joseph, you're now my attendant. Where I go, you go. You're my right-hand guy. Joseph found favor, and Potiphar put him in charge of his household and entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of Egyptian because of Joseph. So the blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So he left in Joseph's care everything he had. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. So Joseph is a pretty important guy again. Joseph is the top guy in Potiphar's house. Potiphar says, Joseph, I trust you so much. Here's the key to the house. Here's the key to the Ferrari. Here's the key to the vacation house. You just do what you need to do. You take care. I don't even care. Don't even tell me. You don't have to run decisions by me. I don't need to sign anything. Here's my signet ring. You buy and you sell and you invest and you do what you think is best, because clearly, Joseph, everything that you do it's amazing. I am richer now than I ever used to be. And so Joseph is in a pretty good spot again. Joseph is pretty important. Joseph probably hangs out in the palace with Potiphar. Joseph probably knows Pharaoh. I mean, hey, dream's back on. Okay, this is going in the right direction. I like this. Now, verse 6, Joseph was well built and handsome. Okay, why does the writer need to put that there? Because something's going to happen, right? Nothing's by accident in Scripture. So, after a while, Potiphar's wife takes notice of Joseph and says, come to bed with me, okay? Because he's handsome. Because, he's 17, 18, 19, who knows how old he is, but he is definitely a young man, probably younger than Potiphar. Right? And Potiphar's traveling. Potiphar's out. He doesn't care. Whatever. So Joseph says, no, not going to happen. And she keeps at him and keeps at him and keeps at him. And one day, verse 11, he went into the house to attend his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, come to bed with me. But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. Okay, so she's grabbing his cloak. He gets out of the cloak and he is booking it down the field. He's just, no, I'm out of here. I'm running away from this thing. So she's left with his cloak in her hand. What does she do? She realizes that she's not getting anywhere with Joseph. So she tells the other servants, hey, look, this Hebrew, things are going south. This Hebrew, this people that don't even belong here in Egypt, this slave, he tried, you know what he did? You know what he tried to do? He tried to rape me. That's what he tried to rape me. Here's his cloak. I grabbed his cloak, I protected myself, and he took off when he realized that it wasn't going to work, and I overpowered him. He took out of there. Here's his cloak. He tried to rape me. And all the servants go, whoa, that's crazy. I can't believe that. I can't believe he'd do it, but he is a Hebrew after all. Okay, if you say so. How does that make sense? Life is going in a good direction for Joseph. He's doing what God wants him to do, right? He's being upright. He's being honest. He's being truthful. He is walking the narrow road. He's doing everything that God asks him to do. God is blessing his life. Potiphar's household is being blessed. Everything that he does is working well. And boom, now he's accused of raping or attempted rape. This is why we think Joseph is a good guy. Okay.
Stupid before. If you're
Okay.
not a good guy, then you're going to keep being not a
Okay.
good guy.
Well, not necessarily. We saw last week with Jacob that he changed. Yeah. But yeah, I can go for that. Yeah. Joseph, so based on one person's response, who happens to be in authority, and she twists the whole thing around and makes this huge lie. And so when Potiphar comes home, verse 19, and he hears the story of his wife saying, "This is how your slave treated me," he burned with anger. Wow. Doesn't that make you go, come on, God, step in. Do something, God. Make it right. You know the truth, God. You see the truth. You know the lie. Step in and change it. Don't you want God to step in at that moment, go, no. This is the way it was. I saw it all. Don't you want that to happen? Don't you want somebody to go, one of the servants to go, I know I could lose my head for this, but I really got to tell you the truth. Don't you want that to happen? Why does it not happen? Well, that's a question we really can't answer. But it doesn't happen. And look what God lets him have happen. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, to the place where the king's prisoners were confined. So he's thrown in prison. And he's thrown in not just any prison, but he's thrown in the king's prison. This is the special one. This is where the king's prisoners are confined. This is not a good place. While Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. Okay, so remember I said nothing in Scripture is there by accident? We just read what seemed like the Lord was definitely not with him, abandoned him, so he's in jail, and then it says the Lord's with him. What? Well, in my world, if the Lord's with him, he's not there in the first place. In my world, if the Lord is with him, everything is hunky-dory, dandy-diddly-do. So that's weird to me. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those in the prison. So Joseph, in verse 23, the warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So Joseph is now in charge of the prison. Joseph is the warden's right-hand guy. He's got the keys, he's got the codes, he's got everything. So Joseph is looking good again. This story's up and down. This is crazy. I just want him to go back home. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king, they offended their master somehow, and Pharaoh throws them in jail. They've been in jail for a while, and they have these dreams. Joseph comes to them in the morning and says, "Whoa, what's the matter with you two guys? You look pretty dejected. You look pretty down. Like, what happened? What'd you eat for dinner?" "Well, we had these dreams. But there's no one to interpret them. We don't know what to do with these dreams." And Joseph says, "Well, God knows, and I know God, so ask me. We got it covered." So the cupbearer tells him a dream. There's this vine and 3 branches, and it blossomed, and I made them into grapes, and I gave the cup to Pharaoh, and he drank it, and all was good. And Joseph says, "Oh yeah, well, okay. 3 days, you're going to be back with Pharaoh. And in 3 days, you're going to hold the cup of Pharaoh again, and you're going to be his cupbearer. You're going to be restored." And he says, but when all goes well with you, would you remember me? Would you remember my kindness? Would you mention me to Pharaoh? Get me out of this prison, please? Because I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews. And even here, I've done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. Look, would you say something good to Pharaoh? He knows who I am. I was in Potiphar's house. I didn't do anything bad to get there. It wasn't my fault. And I didn't do anything bad to get to Egypt. It wasn't my fault. Come on, do something. Remember me, okay? Well, the chief baker goes, ooh, yeah, I like that dream. Maybe mine's the same. Here's my dream. I had these loaves of bread and 3 baskets of bread, and they were on top of my head, and the birds were eating from them. And Joseph says, I hate to tell you this, but the 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, you're going to get out of this prison. Yes, cool, I'm getting out of the prison. Wait a minute, but you're not going to be restored. You're going to be hanged, and the birds are going to eat your flesh. Oh, thanks, Joseph. Thanks. I think I'll go back to sleep. So all that happens. 3 days. It's Pharaoh's birthday. He gives a feast. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer. In other words, he brought them out of prison, brought them in front of him. He restores the chief cupbearer so that he's holding the cup again, but he hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph had said in this. And Joseph is listening to this going, yes, yes, cool, all right, the cupbearer, everything came true. I'm going to be out of this prison soon. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. 2 years. That cupbearer who said, oh yeah, I'll tell him about you, don't worry about it, he forgot all about him. Okay, in my world, God's going to step in, and the very next day, the cupbearer is going to say, oh, by the way, Joseph told me this. He's a cool guy after all. 2 years goes by. Joseph is in jail going, oh, man. How long do I have to wait? He's forgotten about me. Maybe God forgot me about me. I mean, this story's up and down. You've been there. Our life is up and down. Maybe God forgot about me. How could God let this happen? Why isn't God stepping in? Why isn't God doing this? Why doesn't God do that? Why does he allow this? Why does he allow that? God is confusing. Because God is not controllable. 2 full years go by. Pharaoh has this dream. He's standing by the Nile, and he sees 7 cows that are fat cows. And then all of a sudden he sees 7 other cows who are ugly and gaunt, and they come up out of the Nile, and they end up eating the 7 sleek cows. He wakes up like, oh, that was ugly. Whew. Okay, go back to bed. It's okay. He goes back to bed. He sees 7 heads of grain that are healthy and good and full, and oh yeah, this is good. And then he sees 7 heads of grain that are thin and scorched by the east wind, and there's barely anything in them. They're terrible. And they, the thin heads of grain, swallow up the 7 healthy heads. And Pharaoh wakes up. What in the world just happened? I've had 2 nightmares. This is not good. In the morning, his mind's troubled. And he says to people, I had these dreams. I don't know what to do with them. And finally the cupbearer goes, I think I just broke it. Oh, there we go. He goes, oh no, Pharaoh, I forgot. I forgot to tell you, like 2 years ago, this Joeseph guy, he told me all about the dream, and I should have told you about that because Joseph's a really cool guy. So why don't you get Joeseph? Well, okay. So they send word and they get Joeseph. Verse 14, he shaves, he changes his clothes, probably a good thing. Probably he's not the, best of places in a dungeon. And Pharaoh tells Joseph the dream. And Joseph says, well, I can't interpret it, but I know God who can interpret it. God interprets everything. I know God. He knows that. I'll let you know what it is. So he tells him the dream. And Joseph says, here's the deal. You're going to have 7 great years. You're going to have 7 years of abundant grain, abundant crops. It's going to be full. But after 7 years, you're going to have 7 years of famine. And so in the 7 full years, what I would do, Pharaoh, is I would take a fifth of every one of your crops and I'd store them away. And I would put them in barns, I'd put them in storage sheds, whatever you need to do, because then that 7 years comes, you're going to want this grain. So prepare for it. It's happening. And it's interesting to me that Pharaoh believes him. Right? I mean, Pharaoh just believes him. Who is this guy? I just brought him from jail. Yeah. But Pharaoh takes it as the word of God. Is God with Joseph? Yeah, he's with Joseph. And Pharaoh recognizes that. And in verse 37, the plan seemed good to Pharaoh and all of his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" And then Pharaoh said, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning as wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." Wow. Joseph is the number 2 guy in all of Egypt. Is the dream coming true? Wow. I would love to finish this, but we're at 10 after 8. Because we get into what happens when Joseph's brothers come home. Well, not come home, but come to visit. Do you want to spend another 10 minutes doing this? Your call. Do you need to go? You need to go. Yeah. No? Okay, let's go through this. Let's go through this. So he's number 2 guy. Yeah, okay. So he is in charge of the whole land of Egypt. He gives him his signet ring. He gives him fine robes and linen and a gold chain around his neck. Isn't this ironic? Joseph is back in a Technicolor robe again, right? Here he is in his fine robes again and a gold chain and the whole works. He's like MC Hammer or something. I don't know. No, he's not. He's better than that? Okay, good. So Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh the king, verse 46 of chapter 41. 30 years old. How old? He was 17 when he was sold. Now he's 30. Okay, 13 years have gone by. So he worked, he was 2 years in prison. So he was 28. Oh, and so sorry, he was sold at 17. He was put in prison 2 years ago, 28 years old. So he worked for Potiphar about 10 years. Okay. So this is 13 years has gone by since the dream. Egypt has 7 years of abundance. So now he's 37 years old. And then they start in the years of famine. So he's 37 years old. The famine comes. Chapter 42. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you just keep looking at each other? I've heard there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die. Like, come on, guys, do something." Then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brothers, with the others, because he was afraid that harm might come to him. Why was he afraid of sending Benjamin? Why did he not want harm to come to Benjamin? Right, because Benjamin and Joseph were the only 2 sons he had from Rachel. So he's going to protect Benjamin. Lots of lessons in here. We could do this for a long time. So they go down. Joseph was the governor of the land, the one who sold grain to all its people, in verse 6. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. Oh, where have we heard that? Oh, dream. Aha. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them. But he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Why didn't they recognize Joseph? They're his brothers. Yeah, he was 17. He's 37 now. 20 years have gone by. Oh, yeah, okay. He might be 38 or 39 right now. Yeah, maybe 40. Yeah, probably got a big beard now. And okay. My bad. Well, he was clean shaven when he stood before Pharaoh, but he could. But yeah, and of course they weren't expecting ever to see Joseph again. Ever. Right. They had no idea where he ended up. Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. They probably figured he would have been dead by now. Slaves did not last all that long. So if they were hard worked. So they come. They bow down to him. Joseph recognizes him. He's harsh. Where do you guys come from? Well, we're from the land of Canaan to buy food. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize. Then he remembered his dreams. And he says, you guys are spies. That's what you are. You're spies. You've come to see where our land is unprotected. You're trying to take us over. You guys are from another nation that are trying to destroy us in a time of famine. That's what you guys are. Oh, man, you jerks. No, 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 my lord. My lord. Woo. No, my lord. Would they have ever called him their lord when he was 17? I don't think so. They had a lot of other names for him, but not Lord. Your servants have come to buy food. We're all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men. We're not spies. No, that's not true. You've come to see where our land is unprotected. No, we're 12 brothers. We're sons of one man. We live in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with the father, and one is no more. Joseph's like, yeah, I know. That's me. But he's not ready yet. It is just as I told you, just as I thought. You guys are spies. And this is how I'm going to test you. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you're not going to leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest are going to be kept in prison so that the words may be tested to see if you're telling the truth. You're all spies. And so he puts them in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said, do this and you will live, for I fear God. After 3 days, maybe Joseph was going, okay, there's got to be a better way. Or maybe talking to God going, okay, maybe I don't need to be as harsh. Why was he so harsh? What do you think? Put yourself in that position. I mean, he hasn't, what's that? Retribution. Yeah, he's a person, right? Here's these brothers of mine who sold me into slavery, who were going to kill me. I begged, and they just said, see you later, sonny boy. See ya, pretty boy. Good luck. And now they're right in front of me, just as God told me what would happen. And he's angry, and he's going to make them pay. Okay? And then 3 days later, he's probably talking to God, and God says, okay, lighten up a little bit. He says, if you're honest men, let one of your brothers stay here, and the rest of you can go back. But you must bring your brother to me. In order to get this guy out of jail, you got to bring your youngest. Why the youngest? He wants to see his brother, and why does he insist that Benjamin has to come? Maybe. Yeah, he does later. I think this is a pretty huge test. I think he wants them to feel angst. I think he wants them to go, oh, not Benjamin too. We know what we did to Joseph and how that almost killed Dad. And now we got to bring Benjamin. Oh, man, he's only got one. Benjamin's his favorite after Joseph. We got rid of Joseph, and now we've got to put the other favorite in harm's way. Oh, can you imagine how they were feeling? Like, oh my goodness. And look at what happens. Verse 21, they said to one another, surely we're being punished because of a brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come upon us. Right? They know. Reuben replied, didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must give an accounting for his blood. And they didn't realize the whole time that Joseph could understand what they were saying. They're having this conversation in front of Joseph. Oh, why did we do that for Joseph? We never should have done that to Joseph. How does that make you feel if you're Joseph at this point? Yes. Right? So he turns away and he cries. He can't keep it under control any longer. But he comes back to them and he sends them on their way to speed things up a little bit. He sends them on the way and he fills their sack with grain and they place all the silver back in their bags. Okay, so they realize that all their sacks are filled with silver. They have the grain. Whoa, what is going on? As they were emptying their sacks, in verse 34, there in each man's sack was his pouch of silver. When they and their father saw the money pouches, they were frightened. Their father Jacob said to them, you have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me. So Simeon stays and says, I will stay. And I'll wait for you guys to come back. They get back home and they see their silver's there. And they're like, oh, we can't ever go back. Because they're going to say we stole the silver. We can't. This is bad. Why are they frightened? Because they know it's bad. Like, how did that silver get back in our bags? Did you put it in? I didn't put it in. Did you steal it? I didn't steal it. Did anybody put this? I don't know. How did it get back in there? This is bad. And so Jacob looks at it and goes, oh, you left Simeon. They want Benjamin, and you have all the silver still. And he says, now I'm going to lose Benjamin too. I might as well be dead. And so Reuben says, you may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will bring him back. Reuben, what do we know from Reuben from the beginning of the story? Reuben wanted to save Joseph. Yeah. So Reuben says, you can put both of my sons to death, Dad. I will get him. And Jacob says, no. My son's not going to down there with you. His brother's dead. He's the only one left. If harm comes to him on the journey, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in sorrow. And so he says, you're not taking him. The famine rages on. They need more food. And they got to go back. And so they take Benjamin with them. And so Benjamin goes, and Jacob is at his wit's end, wondering if he's ever going to see him back. And so, verse 8. Then Judah said to Israel, his father, send the boy along with me, and we will go at once, so that we and your children may live and not die. I myself will guarantee his safety. You can hold me personally responsible for him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, I will bear the blame before you all my life. What do we know about Judah? What's that? Yeah, Judah was the bad guy in the beginning of the story. Judah was the one who wanted to kill him. Judah was the one who sold him. Now, Simeon steps up and says, hey, you can have my kids. And Judah steps up and says, okay, I will make this right. Because he's the one who made it wrong. Something changed in Judah. And if we had time, I would tell you what changed in Judah happened in chapter 38 about the story with Tamar and Judah. And that's why the story of Tamar and Judah is in there. Because something happened in Judah's life to change his life. And so here at the end of this story, Judah's the guy who steps up and says, my bad, my fault, I take responsibility because you guys listened to what I said, so now I've got to make it right. And so they go on their second journey. So they get there, and they take double the silver, and they take a little bit of balm and honey and spices, verse 11. Verse 12, they take double the amount of silver, and they take their gifts, and they go, and Benjamin's with them. They go in front of Joseph. Verse 16, when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to his steward of the house, take these men to my house, slaughter an animal, prepare dinner. They are to eat with me at noon. So all the brothers are ushered into Joseph's own house, and they are seated around the table in order of birth. Now, how freaky would that be? Like, how does this guy know? Where are we? I don't know where I am anymore. Thank you. So they're seated around the table. They bring extra silver. They tell them all about it. And the steward, in verse 24, took the men into Joseph's house, gave them water, washed their feet, provided fodder for their donkeys. They prepared their gifts for Joseph's arrival. He comes home. And he asks them in verse 27, how is your aged father you told me about? Is he still living? They reply, your servant, our father, is still alive and well. And they bowed low to pay him honor again. As he looked about and saw his brother Benjamin, his own mother's son, he asked, is this your youngest brother, the one you told me about? God be gracious to you, my son. Deeply moved, he goes off and he weeps again. He washes his face, he comes back. The men were seated in order of their birth, verse 33, and they're astonished by it. Joseph's still not done with them. He sends them on their way. He fills their sack, and he put the silver back. And for whatever reason, he puts his own drinking goblet in Benjamin's sack. They go on their way. Joseph sends his guards. His guards say, you guys stole my master's cup. No, not us. We didn't do it. Far be it from us. If you find that silver goblet, and whoever finds it, you can have and you can kill. So one by one they unload, and they find it in Benjamin's. Oh, in Benjamin's. Now we've killed Benjamin too. They hold back. They come back in front of Joseph. Joseph could no longer control himself, chapter 45. His attendants leave, and he says, guys, it's me. What? It's me. And he reveals himself, and they have this big happy reunion, and they throw their arms around each other, and they weep, verse 14. Pharaoh hears all this great commotion. He invites everybody to come and live with them in Egypt. And that takes us to the end of our story. What's the big idea of that story? Dreams come true is a great soundbite. Yes, that is a marvelous soundbite. What would be the big idea? I mean, it's kind of like the Jacob story. It's up and down. Can trust God with whatever.
And no matter what it looks like,
Yeah.
it's still there.
Yeah. We went so fast you probably couldn't, but you all know the verse in Genesis where Joseph, when he reveals himself to his brothers, in chapter 45. Yeah, there you go. I just lost it. But Joseph says, because his brothers were sorry, we shouldn't have done that. And he says to them, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. What you meant to destroy me with, God meant to bless people with. How does that apply today? How do we work that in our own lives? Because we have ups and downs. We have one who's against us all the time, called the evil one, who means to destroy us. Can we believe that God will use everything and anything for the blessing of his people through us? Not necessarily to bless us, but he used Joseph to bless those around him. And in doing so, Joseph was blessed. What others mean for evil, God works for good. Sometimes it takes, how many years did it take? 20 years almost? And we don't know what it looks like. We don't know how God does it, but he does it. So, that's real life. Those of you who are looking at it from the 15, you look at life and everything's good. Nothing bad can ever happen. But it will. And what Satan means to destroy you with, God will use to make you a blessing to others. He will do it. So, let's just close in prayer. God, I don't know how it all works. But clearly, you're at work in our lives. Clearly, you take everything that comes into our life and you organize it and you rearrange it and you fit it together so that it actually looks like something good in the end. And you won't let us be destroyed. And you won't let us be overcome and ruined. But you have a plan for us. And you may not have given us a dream, but you've given us a promise that you're always with us. So God, when we're in the time of saying, this is bad, this is really bad, help us to know that you are good and you can make it really good. I ask this in your name, Jesus. Amen.